Arrow Flash, a game from 1990, a shmup, and a Mega Drive exclusive, and one I've never even heard of, to be honest, let alone played. And I am a fan of the genre. I love the likes of Gradius, R-Type, games of that nature have always appealed to me. In fact, one of my very first ever games was Haley Wars on the Sega Game Gear, which I absolutely adored. Biohazard Battle as well, of course, on the Mega Drive was a game I owned. Okay, so straight away you can see you've got a transformation ability. I'm guessing this is my special attack. Graphically, it's a bit basic compared to some in terms of the environments and everything. Even for the era, it's a little bit basic. That gameplay feels okay. It's solid. Oops. Okay, so just getting the hang of it. I'm assuming there's the usual upgrade system that's intact on shmups, i.e. pick up a box or an orb or whatever it'll be, and I'll improve my ability. Here we go. Let's see what that gives me. Nothing, seemingly, but yeah, that'll be what it is. So it usually improves your gunfire, maybe your speed of thrust, and sometimes get some like little extras, don't you? Where you've got like a little buddy that comes at the side of you and shoots as well. So that one's giving me some kind of shield. Initial impressions a minute or so in, it's okay. The gameplay is solid, if unspectacular. My only sort of criticism at this point is the enemy design and environments are very basic and not very imaginative. There's no turbo, so I can't just hold the button down. I am having to repeatedly press to fire, which doesn't bother me. And also I think the music is pretty annoying at this point, along with the weapon sounds. But I'm not trying to sound too negative. I quite enjoy what I'm doing so far. It's not bad. Okay. But yeah, and I've never heard of this game. Ever. From what I saw when I looked into it, there seems to be very little discussion of this anywhere. No idea if it's a rare game or not, or out of danger. I just assumed then that this was going to be a boss, because the typical thing with these games is, of course, you get to the end of the level, the music changes, then a big boss character comes in, but it appears I've succeeded. I'm guessing that's just it for the first level. Okay. I did put it on easy, as you saw when I were messing around on the menu, so we'll see how far we can get with the lives and continues if I have any that are available to me. Okay, so it looks like whatever I did was maybe like a midway through the level. The music's changed, the look's changed. Interesting. So as you can see, I've got my little buddy power up with me now, so he's also shooting. I've always enjoyed that about all the games I was mentioning before, the likes of R-Type and Gradius and Haley Wars, which I did mention. I will keep repping Alien Wars till I'm blue in the face, because that game is so underappreciated. It's such a basic shoot 'em up, but it's better than this. I'll say that straight away. But yeah, I've always enjoyed that aspect. You get your power-ups and it improves your capabilities. At some points in these games you feel absolutely invincible. I remember shout out to a game called Omega 5 on the Xbox 360. If he's watching this, a good friend of mine, Sean Clement, will absolutely be agreeing with me when I call that one out. Great game, very similar shoot 'em up style, and you got your power-ups and you just feel invincible for a little bit, don't you, as you get them all, and then absolutely desolate in despair when you die and lose them all. I mean, look at me here, I've got so much firepower coming out. But yeah, you die and then lose them all, generally speaking. Okay, so here's boss. Immediately dead. Oh god. Yeah, so there we go. The boss took me out straight away initially, which means I'm now on the second level back down to my pea shooter, I would imagine. It's not bad. I've played much better in the genre. That, as I've said, you've got to call out quite. Even on the Mega Drive, the likes of Biohazard Battle, Fantasy Zone as well is a classic. Game over. Oh dear. First continue on the second stage. Yeah, there are some decent ones actually on the platform in general. So maybe that's why it never gets called out. These guys give me a hard time. Jeez. But yeah, I don't mind it. I'd be very curious to see how it was reviewed back in the day. Wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't very well received. And the reason I say that is, you know, a lot of the games I was referencing are so visually impressive and interesting, and quite a lot when you look back at reviews from the era. For some reason, the visuals or the graphical fidelity, that's always what seems to matter most to the reviewers then. I don't know if it was because, you know, that was what felt like the biggest leap at the time. You know, going from the Master System and the NES to the Mega Drive and the SNES. I guess they really wanted just to see more pixels and that type of thing when reviewing games, more so than the gameplay. So because this looks quite basic, it wouldn't surprise me if it weren't reviewed overly well. But I could be totally wrong. Maybe this is a well-loved classic that I've just missed. I'm not sure. I think if you're going for a shoot 'em up on the Mega Drive, the immediate choice will be Gunstar Heroes. Don't know if it really is classed as a shmup in the sense of games like this and R-Type, Gradius, Biohazard Battle, but you know, because it's more of a run and gun, I guess. But that'd be always my port of call, I would suggest, if I were looking for, you know, a side-scrolling shoot 'em up on the Mega Drive. Is this the first of this type that we've played on this A to Z of the Mega Drive? I think it is. I suppose the closest would be Alien Soldier from Treasure, which was the developers of Gunstar Heroes, because that was a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, run and gun more so. But it did have a upgrade system for the weapons. This is the most standard kind of shmup imaginable, really, though. There's very little in the way of innovation. It is what it is, and it's doing it fine. I would have absolutely been quite happy to get this game back in the day. I would have, I'm sure, finished it, or at least got very far. Never been great at these games, but I've tended to be able to finish them. So we will see how far I can get here. I had a good time last year, I want to say, on the PS4 with the Konami Anniversary Collection, which I recommend. That had a lot of the Gradius games on there. That was really good. Is it Gradius or Gradius? I've always said Gradius. If I'm wrong, I'm very sorry for anybody. So this is quite cool. We've got like an asteroid Starfield bit here. That's quite fun. I'm a fan of that. So that produced a little bit of originality to the game. I'm sure it's coming across when you're looking at it, though, how it's not very stimulating to look at. The enemy types are very bare bones. Okay, so this is a bit different. Oh, I may have spoke too soon. This is giving off big Gradius vibes, actually. You know, when you're going through the tunnels and everything. Okay, quite like that. So we've now got a bit of environmental threat. I'm guessing I can't touch the sides or the cliffs or anything like that. Oh, look at the amount of power-ups I've got. Now, this is when I love it, but already I'm feeling it. There's a bit of slowdown. So as I'm getting all of these particle effects on the screen and all of this crazy stuff flying out of me, well, the game stuttered a little bit with that, which is understandable for the hardware in question. You know, and that is very common with shmups of the era. Like, the more on screen, the more the frames drop to a low 5, maybe. Quite a lot of slowdown, but this is nice. Like, the visual style's picked up hugely. I guess that's maybe Jupiter or something in the background. I can see a planet with the famous Jupiter red eye. This is what I mean though, when you feel indestructible with the power-ups. I mean, look at the amount of stuff flying out of me. And I know full well, yes, something is just going to come and destroy me in one hit, and I'm sure it'll probably be this boss. But we'll do our best. I will do my best to keep all of my allies and missiles coming out of me as long as I can. Okay, this level's definitely been a step up in quality to look at. So, I don't think he's firing anything, this boss, just seems to be sort of trying to ram me. Okay. We're blowing it up. Oh, God. And there we go, I'm back to my pea shooter. But that is the age-old struggle on the shmups. It's gone up a little bit in my estimation after that level. It's not resting upon just a Starfield, which was my concern, was it was just going to be a Starfield. Wow. And now I'm kind of yearning for the Starfield again, because this is destroying my eyes. What is going on here? These ships are a little bit annoying as well. You see how they disappear and then reappear a few steps closer to you? Whoa. So the enemy types have diversified a little bit, and certainly it's got more interesting to look at. The gameplay is fine, it's doing nothing amazing. I find it a little bit slow in terms of the movement speed. I also don't really understand what the transformation capability does, because they control exactly the same. Doesn't really seem to give you a benefit either way, unless there's something I'm missing. Maybe obviously they both have different special attacks. I wonder if it is just that. It could well be. Okay, got my little buddy back. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, these enemies are a little bit lacking in threat. Just sitting ducks. From the research I did into Arrow Flash, it was a Mega Drive exclusive, as I mentioned earlier, so you know, maybe that's one of the reasons it doesn't get much reference point, because it weren't ported across multiple systems like most of the games I just mentioned were. But then again, that would be more reason for Sega fanboys like myself to be calling this out and saying, "Oh yeah, did you ever play Arrow Flash? That was one of ours." Ours, like I have stock in Sega. Again, a bit more visually impressive, like a crystal cave of some sort that we're in here. Oh, dodge these. Oh no. Okay. Not sure what the gauge at the top that says AF is. Is that like attack force maybe? Not sure. Game over. Got another continue hopefully. Yep. So we're on stage 3. Again, I'm not sure how many levels there are. We'll see how far we can get. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this background at all. It's very disorientating to look at, slightly irritating. The music, like I say, has been annoying pretty much throughout. Again, with the sound effects of the guns as well, it's a bit irritating. But I'm not trying to be negative. It's at all. It's an above-average game. I think you can probably hazard a guess at what kind of score it's going to get from looking at this. From me, and from what I've said about it. I always try to look at things objectively and, you know, take a game on its merits as well as its down points. And it does have merits. The gameplay is responsive. It does nothing particularly poorly. It just doesn't really hold a candle to the best in its class, and doesn't really do anything particularly great. These things are taking a lot more shooting this time. I don't know if it's because I'm stuck in my pea shooter. I now see the threat that they pose. Oh, so they're slow-moving little crabs, basically, I think. Oh dear, we're not doing as well this time. Game over again. Whew. Hopefully we can at least get to the next boss with however many lives I've got left. That'd be nice. I always find boss designs on these games really interesting. Or I like to find them interesting. So far on this, they've not been massively of that type. I just find the bosses on R-Type really interesting. That was one of the first sort of visually appealing games I ever played. Like, in terms of, wow, look at the design of that. I don't know what its name was, but I think the classic R-Type boss is the worm type thing. I don't know what its name was. It was like a worm with a tentacle extended out and big open mouth. It'd be nice to get something a bit like that maybe on this, rather than just a slightly bigger variation of one of the ships we've already been shooting all the time. Doing better this time though, as you can see. I've got my firepower up, so I'm wiping the floor with these things again. Been umming and ahhing actually of starting a Game Gear A to Z. I'm just a bit against starting too many at the same time, because I really want to be able to commit to finishing all of these. But the Game Gear is a system that means an awful lot to me. It was my first ever video game system. So for that reason, it's always had a massive sort of sentimental attachment for me. So I would love to get to them, particularly to the Sonic games, which were brilliant on there. And there's a few exclusives like Triple Trouble, and I was about to say Chaos, but I think that was also on the Master System. In fact, Triple Trouble might have been as well, actually. But I never had a Master System. Game Gear straight to Mega Drive for me after the Game Gear. So I couldn't be sure. But it would be nice to go on there and play Haley Wars, which I referenced earlier. See if it's as fun. Whoa, this is a new weapon. I don't think I've ever had this one before. You can only fire one on the screen at a time. So I can't spam the living heck out of this thing, but it's pretty cool. Quite a lot of slowdown when I use it. Quite nice effects though, isn't it? It's like a neon worm that comes out of me. This is the furthest we've got, I would say. So, let's see if we can reach the boss. Maybe even get to the next level. Oh, here we go. Oh, he's a snake type guy. Well, this is an interesting looking boss. Better looking for sure. Oh god, I'm back to the pea shooter. Let's use a special attack and hope and pray. Yes. That was fun. Okay, so we're on stage 4. Usually on these types of games, I would say there's like 8 to 10 levels maybe, so I doubt we're going to get anywhere particularly far. This is different. So it's not side-scrolling, these are coming at me vertically, which is really disorientating and a little bit difficult, because I can't tell if they're going to come up or down. And it feels like I've got less time to prepare for that. So a little bit of variety. Not a fan of that really. I prefer, if it's going to be vertically scrolling, I'd far rather just be going up the screen than this. It doesn't feel overly fair in a way, because you've got such little time to be able to react. Although I suppose that is the point. Oh dear. One more life. If I've got another continue, hopefully. It's a new enemy type, he's got like a shield barrier. Game over. We have another continue in the bank, let's see if we can get past it. Or at least get to the boss. Oh god. It is not going well on this one. Although the pea shooter that you start with really doesn't help. Okay, so we're looking like we're getting back to the cloud bit. This is where I died last time, I think, where the clouds changed like a bluish hue. Come on. Oh god. There he is, my nemesis. Well, I've got no lives left, so... Any more continues? Game over? No, I'm out of them as well. Oh well. Arrow Flash. It's not bad. It's not a fantastic shmup, but it does the job. It's not bad.